genocide!
Hey, hey! Ho, ho!
Hey, hey! Ho, ho!
The occupation has got to go!
The occupation has got to go!
Stop the killing! Stop the hate!
Stop the killing! Stop the hate!
Israel is an apartheid state!
Israel is an apartheid state!
We're going to go over shortly. The shift is going to be changing before long. Cars are supposed to be coming out, so we'll be lying down at the entranceway. So again, only do this if you really understand that you will be arrested, right? You will be arrested. Okay, we know some of the facts and figures on this rainy day. I don't have to go into too many of them, but when we were here in July, they were producing many fewer 155 artillery shells than they're making now. Remember what they're making in here. They're putting the shells. They're making 155 millimeter shells that will be eventually filled with such things as cluster bombs that you're going to be told about a little more about that later by Nick, or with white phosphorus, which you know burns right to the bone. These have been tried from this same plant in Vietnam against Vietnamese peasants. They've been used in Iraq. Now they are being used not just in the Ukraine, but huge shipments are going to Israel. And keep in mind that the Gaza is about, those of you who live around here, the Gaza is about as wide as it is from here to Dunmore. And for Christ's sake, you can walk to Dunmore, right? Without any big problem. It's about as long as a marathon, which means from Pittston, Pennsylvania, up to Carbondale. That's the size of Gaza, that has no ships and planes, helicopters, howitzers, etc. Keep in mind, this is not a war. This is not a war. It's a fucking Holocaust. We know that. We know what it is. So we are here to invoke the law. And the law is international law, which the United States very often, almost always, ignores because we're above the law. But there is also a law produced by a United States senator, one of the longest serving senators, most respected senators, a lawyer, an individual who knows the law. The law is the Leahy Law, named after Patrick Leahy of Vermont. And the Leahy Law states that if a factory, a country, is producing weapons that violate basic human rights, that place should be shut down. And so I'm saying to you, should we shut this place down? Yes.
Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down!
I'm going to ask you a few questions and you can answer either yes or no. Is murdering children and women in violation of human rights?
Yes!
Is shelling and bombing hospitals a violation of human rights?
Yes!
Is imprisoning 1 million people plus behind razor wire a violation of basic human rights?
Yes!
Next Sunday is the 75th anniversary of the Declaration of Human Rights, a week from today. The Declaration of Human Rights declares the dignity and worth of all human beings. Are Israel and the United States violating the Declaration of Human Rights?
Yes!
The United States Senator Patrick Leahy recently retired. He's an expert on human rights and law, and has passed the United States, that the United States refuses to abide by international law. The Leahy Law is a United States law that makes it illegal to sell and send weapons to known units, states, nations, and groups that are in violation of human rights. On knowing that, does the United States violate the United States Leahy Law?
Yes!
Israel, with the total assistance of the United States, has murdered over 15,000 citizens of tiny Gaza, has bombed and shelled houses, hospitals, schools, bus stations, clinics, and left the tiny region pulverized with unknown bodies under the rubble. Should the Leahy Law be enforced to stop the killing?
Yes!
Thank you.
There was a Marine Corps general you may have heard of, Smedley Butler, who once, after he retired, said, war is a racket. It's run by the few, and it profits the few at the expense of the many. And that's exactly what goes on. Other speakers have talked about where our tax dollars are going, and I don't believe anybody asked us if we'd like to have them spent that way, because our government is being run by madmen, arsonists. These are the people who are currently in control, and they run around the world starting fires. And we are continually running around trying to put these fires out. And we know what that's like and how far it usually gets us. But I want to tell you something here that's in addition to the suffering and the darkness that's going on right now in Palestine. And that's a bit of good news and some light entering the picture, because recently Veterans for Peace partnered with an organization that has 300,000 members in the U.S. It's called Move to Amend. And they are in the process of kicking corporations out of the Constitution and denying the ridiculous theory that money equals speech. And what does that have to do with us here today? Well, what it has to do is when the madmen arsonists no longer have protection of free speech and the First Amendment for their corporation to lobby and to contribute to campaigns and to advertise and to go into schools and pervert young people, when they no longer have the rights of human beings and they can be controlled like they're supposed to be, we won't have to continually run around and put out the fires of the madmen arsonists. We can start doing some fire prevention. Now, we've got to do the firefighting like we're doing today, and we'll continue to do that. But I can tell you right now that our organization and Move to Amend are working together, and it's going to be a long struggle, but we are going to make sure that the madmen arsonists and their corporations no longer have the rights that allow them to move freely about. There'll be no more General Dynamics lobbying, no more General Dynamics campaign contributions, and the will of the people in this country who pay the bills will finally get a chance to set the policy which is going to be humane for a change. Thank you.
He said further, there is a Leahy vetting process for Israel. It has never found an Israeli unit to be guilty of gross human rights violations. Yes. It is a broken system. Understood that the Leahy law in the U.S. government is a broken system. Today, December 3rd, we believe that as U.S. citizens, we must act to enforce the Leahy law with respect to Israel. The legal responsibility of Joe Biden and the U.S. Congress is one that they choose not to meet. They are not causing the United States to obey the laws of the United States. We are doing this in an effort to stop the systematic slaughter, terrorization, immiseration of the Palestinian people by the government of Israel and by the United States. Repeat, we are doing this in an effort to stop the systematic slaughter, terrorization, and immiseration of the Palestinian people at the hands of the U.S. government and Israel. Since October 7th, the attack that Israel says killed 1,200 people, more than 15,000 Palestinian people have been slaughtered. 70% of those killed have been women and children. In addition, more than 2 million Gazans are living in fear of instant death or slowly dying from starvation, disease, lack of medical care, lack of housing, lack of sanitary facilities, and lack of clothing against the cold of winter. In operating the Scranton ammunition factory, General Dynamics is also illegally complicit in the genocide occurring in Palestine. As the recent federal lawsuit filed against President Biden and other officials points out, there's violations, there are a bunch of legal citations, lawsuits have been brought, and basically what this paragraph says is that General Dynamics is complicit in the slaughter of Palestinian people. Therefore, we believe that any attempt to arrest us will be in violation of the law, and that we have the perfect right as citizens of the United States to see that U.S. laws are enforced, and in this case, the enforcement of this law would stop the slaughter of tens of thousands of people.
All right.
Thank you very much, and we hope that what we do today will be known far and wide and will encourage other people to demand that the law be enforced to protect the people of Palestine and people around the world. Thank you very much. These shells can also carry and do carry white phosphorus that have been dropped. To get an idea of the explosive power, if this were to land right here, everyone in this group would die, and people up to 50 yards from here. The U.S. military will not fire these any closer than 600 meters away from people. That means up over that hill, people would be running the danger of being wounded and killed. That's how powerful these bombs are. When you see pictures of them, they all look very shiny and smooth and like nothing bad could come of it. When they explode, people die. In Gaza, right now, these bombs are they're artillery shells. They're being used against people. People are being chopped up. People are having white phosphorus burns. Cluster bombs are being left for children to pick up years from now. This place is producing a hideous weapon. This has been part of the U.S. artillery, supermarket for many, many years. So please do keep coming back. Join Mike Ferner in shutting this place down. Please remember what you're looking at. And remember, this is going on every single day. 20,000 of these coming out of here every single month.
Very depressing, very sad that our tax money is being paid to help this genocide. It is disgusting, and I think the American government should heed to and listen to the people. We have so much need in our country instead of helping the Israel and helping all the genocides and all the destruction and killing and misery for the innocent people. The media always talk about Hamas. We are not talking about the Hamas. We are talking about the innocent people who happen to be born in that land called Gaza and West Bank.
I'm here from Scranton. I am a citizen. I am a concerned mother. I'm a humanitarian. And I have a friend who is in Gaza. Her name is Amal. And I have another friend from Gaza whose name happens to be Azza from Gaza. So you can remember this, okay? Please keep her in your prayers. 20,000 plus innocent people have died. How many more have to die before they stop this bombing? I am afraid every night for my friend, whether she's going to text me in the morning, whether she's going to be alive or not. This is not play. This is not games. We have no holiday season this year until they stop this bombing.
Free education, subsidized education, free health care, subsidized housing. And you know who's paying for it? Us. We're paying for it. We don't have free education.
We don't have subsidized housing. We sure as hell don't have free health care. 317 billion, that's the number. 317 billion with a B dollars from 1948 until now. If they do pass the bill that's currently brewing in the Senate and Congress to send more aid to Israel, which is another 50 billion, that makes it 367 billion. Now, even before this amount, there's a new surge of aid to Israel. The 317 billion, according to USAFacts.com, it's actually, and according to economists, it's enough to do the following in the United States. It's enough to solve all the veteran affairs and financial problems and healthcare. It would expand healthcare in this country to tens of millions more people. It will also subsidize education in this country. And it will also solve, it's enough even to solve not just America hunger, it is the world hunger, which requires only $4 billion a year. They are willing to spend much more money on killing more people rather than feeding them. When you ask them to pay money for education or forgive student loans, they say we don't have it. But they have it. They have it to fund wars. So how come you don't have it for that, but you have it for killing people? Because this country in reality is ruled by warlords, not by the White House. The president is just simply a puppy to the corporate of America, to the warlords, to the oil lobbyists. That's what any president has been. So it is not just about Palestine. This issue is much bigger than Palestine. Not to minimize the loss of life in Palestine, but the issue is also concern every American citizen in this country. Because if they're willing to kill that many babies abroad in Palestine, it is not far-fetched that it will happen here.
Preach on. Yes.
It is not far-fetched that it will happen here.
Yes.
Now they started with systematic oppression through threats and firing, using corporate of America to fire their employees for speaking up. That's a loophole around the law, because the First Amendment, they use that, does not apply to corporate policy, which it should. Corporate of America should not be allowed to suppress American rights to express their opinion and make them choose between the freedom of speech or losing your job. Because that is the choice they're facing right now. That's why you don't see faculty from the universities around here. Although they disagree with what's happening in the United States, in Palestine. That's why you don't see many people who's holding jobs in law firms, because they fear of being fired. That's what they're doing. It is systematic suppression to voices of people. So they break the cycle, or break the whole damn system. It is not working. Stop voting Republican or Democrats. They both have the same agenda. They both have the same agenda. Find somebody who is not beholden to AIPAC, who is not beholden to any corporates. Find somebody who's only funded by grassroots movement. The choice between Democrat or Republican, it doesn't work anymore. We've been doing this for 50 years, more than 50 years, and saying, oh, the next president is going to be better. We're going to vote this president out. But it never worked. It never worked. So how about change it? This system does not work. It is as simple as that. thank you all for being here. Being anti-American policies does not make you un-American, as they say in the media. Being anti the Israeli government does not make you anti-Semites. You're not saying you're anti the Jewish people as a whole. You're saying you are anti their government. And many Jewish people in this country, and even in Israel, does not agree with the slaughter that's happening. And be aware that they are trying to ban actually JVP, Jewish Voice for Peace. They are trying to ban it because their voices are loud, and we are grateful to them. And we are grateful to every single one of you being here. So keep the activism up and break that cycle. Free, free Palestine! 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 And by the way, the lady here reminded me, Palestinians are Semites. Yeah! Palestinians are Semites. Everybody in the Middle East, virtually, is Semite. That's what Semitism means. And not a single European Jewish, they claim they are Semite, they aren't.
Palestinians are Semites.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I'll start off with a quote from Bisan Auda, who is a reporter in Gaza, 25 years old. She is a social media content creator turned reporter of her own people's genocide. She said, even before the supposed truce, if I die, it is the whole world who pulled the trigger. Palestinians have been ignored for 75 years by the world. Our backs have been turned, and it is gruesome that it took an unprecedented genocide. It is precedented, of course, the Al-Nakba, Al-Naqsa. This is even bigger than 1948. Over 1 million people have been displaced and continuously displaced. In Gaza, 25 by 5 mile strip of land, sectioned out in 5 sections. The Israeli government said, keep moving south. South is the safe zone, as they continue to bomb the south. They say, go to Rafah. Go to Rafah. Go to the south, the very south of Gaza, it's safe, as they bomb Rafah, as they bomb the south, as they bomb the evacuation routes. Do you remember learning about the Trail of Tears in school? That is happening today. And they're not even allowed to cry in the trail peacefully. They are bombed, they are shot at. We are watching bloody, brutal, white supremacist colonization of Palestine by an illegal European settler colony. Israel's entire existence is dependent on the annihilation, displacement, and destruction of the Palestinian people. To support a right for Israel to exist, you have to support that, the annihilation of Palestinians. A two-state solution was never a possibility when the entire state of Israel is built on the murder of the indigenous people there. You cannot create a Jewish homeland on genocide. Nowhere in Judaism does it support genocide, and honestly, it is anti-Semitic to say that a settler colony is a Jewish homeland. A settler colony that murders, lets babies die in incubators, raids hospitals, that is not a Jewish state. That is a murderous, apartheid, Zionist state. And it cannot go any longer. This experiment, this Israeli experiment of 75 years cannot go on any longer. And that's why we're here. This is not a one-off action.
We go from here to organizing in our communities. We go from here to boycotting every company that supports the apartheid system of Israel. We support a free Palestine from the river to the sea, with human rights for all, a right to return for all Palestinians, and retribution for perpetrators of occupational violence, and nothing less than that. If we want peace in the area, we support a free Palestine from the river to the sea, because as long as Israeli oppression exists, Palestinian resistance will exist. All power to the Palestinian resistance that resists brutal genocide, that has seen their families erased from the earth. I really want to cement that point. Going off the dome, y'all. I want to cement the point that Palestinian resistance is not terror. What is terror is the Israeli apartheid state. Now from here, we organize in our communities. We talk to each other, we fend for each other, we love each other. We build infrastructure so we can do actions and support each other and keep us safe. We boycott. We plan, we organize, we do not stop until there's a free Palestine. Did you hear me? We do not stop until there is a free Palestine! From the river to the sea!
First of all, I ask God to reward everyone that came out here, and I ask God to bless you and bless your family, bless your health, bless your wealth, and bless America. The reason we're coming out here is simply to express our hurt and pain that we are seeing from what's happening to our brothers and sisters in Gaza. At the end of the day, we all go back to the same parent, guys. We all go back to Adam and Eve. That's the reality. It doesn't matter what color skin you have. It doesn't matter what religion you are. It's the question here, are you human or not? And this is the reason why we're here. We are here for humanity because we want the killing to stop. We want the killing machine that's going on, that's supported by our country, by our tax dollar, to stop. That's not why we paid our taxes. We paid our taxes to help our country. We paid our taxes to invest in our healthcare system. We paid our taxes for the shelters here in the U.S. There's so many people in dire need for these billions of dollars that we are shipping overseas for the people to get killed for no reason. Kids untimely, house has been destroyed for no reason whatsoever, and it's with our money. So that's why we are here. We want to stop the funding. We want to stop the killing. We want our country to focus on ourselves here in the country and to stop the aggression anywhere in the world. This is the message that we're trying to get to the President, to the Congress, to the Senate, to any human being who have any humanity in his heart. So when you walk out from here, number one, put in your mind you're doing it because God is the one who created you, and you're doing it for His sake only. Number two, you're doing it because you're human, because you are not going to accept any innocent person to get killed. Number three, we have right to tell our government that our money should not be spent in such way. With that, I conclude. Thank you so much. I ask God to reward you all, bless you all. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
My family, because we are Jewish, because we refused to convert to Christianity in the 1400s, we were expelled from Spain. My family, because we were Jewish, were massacred in the Holocaust. Were massacred in pogroms. And we know what it is like to be penned up in an open-air prison.
chair of the Northeast Pennsylvania chapter of the Democratic Socialists of America. I want to say again, I've spoken here before, and I want to say again that it is inspiring to see everyone out here speaking out for justice. Israel wields a lot of power in the United States and around the world, and they are not making it easy to speak the truth. They are trying tooth and nail to shut down the truth and to keep the injustice and the violence going. And when we come out here and we get together in the street, the lies fall apart. And the lies are falling apart around the world as more and more people are coming out. Just a week ago, they shut down Manhattan Bridge in New York City, with thousands of protesters out in the streets. So thank you for coming out here and standing in solidarity. Also, let us say to ourselves congratulations for, at least for a few hours, shutting down this bomb factory. Every minute that there is not a shift in there making more bombs is less bombs that can fall not only in Gaza, but around the world, because these bombs have been falling around the world for decades and decades. So congratulations. Sadly, every time that I come out here, every time we stand together, the death toll is higher. In Gaza now, a modest estimate is that 20,000 Palestinians have been killed. At least half of them, if not more than half, women and children. Nearly all the hospitals have been leveled. All the schools, all the bakeries, the houses, gone. The violence is also spreading in the West Bank. Nearly 200 Palestinians have been killed since October 7th in the West Bank. There's a campaign of fear and intimidation going on in the West Bank as well, and we can't forget that either. It is not just Gaza. Israel's plan is to either kill every Palestinian or drive them out to Egypt. This has to stop, and we are here to say that it is going to stop. Our politicians, our United States politicians, are complicit in this. They are responsible for this. Joe Biden, Scranton's boy, is responsible for this. Right. If you watched in the Scranton Times this week, the Pennsylvania Society met in New York City, and there were billboards and trucks with signs celebrating Senator Fetterman for his unwavering support of Israel and the war machine. Yay! We are here to say that we are going to hold our leaders accountable.
Don't run, Joe!
We'll see.
Tell the truth!
Tell the truth. General Dynamics, their stock, the numbers, as the death toll rises in Israel, the numbers go through the roof with their stocks as well. A recent transcript of a conference call with the investors in General Dynamics has them openly celebrating the profits that they're making since October 7th because of the war machine and the increase in production, all the bombs that they're going to make. This has to stop. And the Democratic Socialists of America are out here to demand that it stop, and we'll be out here until it stops. If you're interested in finding out more about us, reach out to one of us here. Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now!
Ceasefire now!
End the siege!
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 Blood, not bombs!
Bread, not bombs!
Blood, not bombs!
Bread, not bombs!
Blood, not bombs!
Bread, not bombs!
Thank you.
Thiago Gonzalez, and I am a senior Australian at the University of Scranton. Today I'm going to be sharing an email that I sent out to faculty at my university and a message that I want you all to carry on as you continue this. I'm tired of the bureaucratical silence that persists about the Palestinian genocide. And as it continues, a sense of urgency grows alongside my deep care. When I started at the University of Scranton, I was a naive college student who who was trapped inside myself and my own experiences. I never expected that a humanities education would challenge me to then hold the experience of others. I'm called to action because I've learned that Christian doctrine prioritizes service and compassion. Jesuits have paid for the advocacy of these themes with their life, a sacrifice which I guess most, if not all of them, would make again. My education has taught me to care, and nowhere else would I have learned that the love I have, the love given to me, the love is meant for others as much as myself. This idea single-handedly revolutionized me and changed the course of my entire life. I will never forget the day when I learned in theology that I want to be, and already am, a person for others. This phrase, person for others, latched itself into my brain, and it felt like a truth that I had always known. By recognizing the humanity of others, I discovered my worthiness to serve them. The study of humanities has evoked my love, which is as much about compassion as it is about accountability. Out of friendship, I have challenged my faculty and my fellow students to connect with their humanity and to be present with this issue, because your humanity transcends distance or time. It transcends language and ideology. And I urge all of you, as these bombings continue and this plight remains everlasting and exhausting, to maintain this radical teaching of the love. They'll call you crazy, but love is that through which the will of God speaks, and it will ultimately conquer all. To be a revolutionary means to never relinquish love. And as I live my life with this doctrine, I want you all to remember this. Thank you so, so much. And I love all of you.
My name is Will, and I'm with the Democratic Socialists of America. So, I just want to start off by saying that Israel is committing a genocide, and it cannot be more clear. I'm a Jew, and I say, never again in my name. Never again in my name. And I'll just read, this is a bit of a long statement, I'll cut it down, so if some things don't make sense, just let me know and tell me when to go away. So, the Northeast Pennsylvania Democratic Socialists of America and others are coming together to urge an end to the occupation in Gaza, an open-air prison, and for the U.S. to push for a ceasefire and stop arming Israel. Currently, well, actually this already happened. The United States funded the Israeli genocide against the Palestinian people to the tune of $14 billion in emergency funding, on top of the generous support they receive every year. Israel is a settler colonial project that is illegally occupying Palestinian land and has established an apartheid regime. Israel is supported militarily in the West because it is a geostrategic ally that can project force to oil-rich nations, the Suez Canal, and potentially to official enemies, meaning nations acting independent of U.S. imperial interests in the Middle East and Asia. The United Nations Conference on Trade and Development has reported the Gaza Strip and surrounding waters stand over unexploited oil and natural gas resources. Furthermore, Israel has been contemplating the construction of the Ben Gurion Canal, which would provide the Western Alliance a controlled alternative to the Suez Canal in Egypt. This canal would extend from the Red Sea's Gulf of Aqaba to the Mediterranean. The planned route would place it just north of Gaza, but ideally it would be routed through Gaza, quote unquote, to reduce the length. Given the occupation and fighting, this location is too unstable to be practical for now. Controlling trade routes becomes all the more important to U.S. imperial interests as our empire seeks to compete with the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative. Thanks to organizers and activists around the world, Turkey recently canceled plans for joint exploration with Israel of the fossil fuel resources in the Eastern Mediterranean. There was previously talk of an Israel-Turkey gas pipeline that would provide an alternative fuel source for Europe, where gas prices have increased. And since the United States, despite their thinly veiled protestations, bombed the Nord Stream 2 pipeline to Russia in an attempt to increase European dependence on the United States. It goes without saying that the imperialist competition for fossil fuel resources is in contradiction of our right to live on an intact planet, as climate change, damage to our life support system, continues to worsen in both predictable and unexpected ways. This value means the U.S. empire will tolerate Israeli war crimes indefinitely, as it has since the NEPA in 1948, unless the people of the United States of the world impose demands on it. Sorry. And impose demands on it to end apartheid and create a real, true, multi-ethnic, secular democracy, as was done in South Africa. Incidentally, at the time, South Africa was an apartheid nuclear weapons state, as Israel is today until South Africa disarmed. Socialists cannot abide any justification for an ethnically segregated state, a religiously segregated state, or any state that imposes minority rule over the majority at the point of a gun. Israel has demonstrated beyond a doubt that it is an apartheid state for many years, but it was clarified for all when they passed the updated basic law in 2018 that declared Israel as a nation state of the Jewish people and promoted accelerating settlements in the occupied territories in gross violation of UN General Assembly Resolution 194. Under international law, occupied people are entitled to resist by armed struggle. Palestinians have a legally recognized right to return. The only reason this is not implemented is that it would mean the end of Israel's expansionary colonialism. It is important to recognize that Israel is doing to Palestinians what Americans did to Native Americans, and the legacy of our genocide and the inbuilt propensity towards it within the U.S. government is what enables such strong support for Israeli nationalism. Nationalism is a regressive ideology showing progressive features only in the context of a struggle for national liberation from a oppressor nation, which is the case in Palestine today. Innocent children are dying from the fighting. Food, water, electricity, internet, and humanitarian aid have been cut off from Gaza. This is on top of the already pre-existing situation where Israel has calorically restricted Gaza and controlled their water supply, as the overpopulation of the open-air prison has led to groundwater becoming undrinkable. If you are tired of seeing this violence on your screens, we ask people to come out and demand the U.S. government act to solve conflicts rather than encourage illegal collective punishment of all Palestinians, regardless of their political views. We demand our representatives to stop arming Israel. No money for genocide. I'll just skip. It's a bit longer. So I'll just skip to the call to action here. We call on all progressive-minded people and DSA members in the region to continue to protest in the streets until the horrific genocidal military campaign being waged against Gaza is ended. We also call on all comrades to participate in DSA's No Money for Massacres phone banking campaign. End apartheid, end the bombing, end the occupation. Bring democracy and justice to the ancient land. Thank you very much.
Recite the Quran as special for all brothers and sisters in Palestine. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may our God bless them all and all of us here. Ameen. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين
اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولنبلونكم بشيء من الخوف والجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات وبشر الصابرين. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولا تقولوا لمن يقتل في سبيل الله أموات بل أحياء ولكن لا تشعرون. ولنبلونكم بشيء من الخوف والجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات وبشر الصابرين الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. أولئك عليهم صلوات من ربهم ورحمة وأولئك هم المهتدون. صدق الله العظيم. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, all people, do not say about those who are killed in the way of Allah, they are dead. Rather, they are alive, but you perceive it not. And we will surely test you with something of fear and hunger and loss of wealth and leaves and fruit. But give good tidings to the patient, who when disaster strikes them, they say, indeed we belong to Allah, and indeed we will return to Him. Those are the ones upon whom are blessings from their Lord and mercy, and it is those who are the rightly guided. Sadaqallahul Azim. Thank you so much. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations, everyone. It appears that we did shut down the factory today because they're not here. They're not leaving because they didn't show up. So, congratulations.
Keep it shut.
Yeah. Free, free.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salat. Hayya ala salat. حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آتي محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة والشرف والدرجة العالية الرفيعة وبعثه مقام محمودا النبي وعده إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. We close it by dua for our brothers and sisters in Palestine. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا شاكرين حمدا ناعمين حمدا يوافي نعمه ويكافئ مزيدا. يا ربنا لك الحمد حتى ترضى ولك الحمد إذا رضيت ولك الحمد بعد الرضا. اللهم صل على نبينا محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت وسلمت وباركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم يا رب قصدتك وأنت الكريم دعوتك وأنت العظيم رجوتك وأنت رب العالمين ناديتك وأنت الرحمن الرحيم. فيا رب ارحم عبدا ناداك فيا رب ارحم عبدا ناداك وليس له سواك. اللهم انصر إخواننا المسلمين اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين اللهم انصر إخواننا المظلومين اللهم انصر إخواننا المجاهدين اللهم انصر إخواننا المسلمين المظلومين في فلسطين وفي غزة. اللهم انصرهم نصرا عزيزا. اللهم اشف مرضاهم اللهم تقبل شهداءهم اللهم ارحم موتاهم. يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم. We ask you to be with our brothers and sisters in Palestine. Oh Allah, we ask you to honor them. Oh Allah, we ask you to elevate them. Oh Allah, we ask you to protect them. Oh Allah, we ask you to have mercy upon them. Oh Allah, we ask you to calm their fears. Oh Allah, we ask you to cure their sick, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, we ask you to heal their wounded, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, we ask you to accept their deed, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, we ask you to pour upon them tranquility, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, we ask you to grant them steadfastness, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, we ask you to use us, Ya Allah, to comfort them. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Give us victory for our brothers and sisters, Ya Allah. Make all of these sufferings done, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Accept our dua, Ya Allah. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Biden, Biden, you can't hide!
Biden, Biden, you can't hide!
We charge you with genocide!
We charge you with genocide!